How's it going, guys? Josh here with Sty's Cards once again for another Master Duel video. We're about a week into Master Duel, and I've been absolutely loving it. I've been having so much fun playing ranked, just playing cards that I remember playing from years ago, being able to do a ton of different and unique strategies. And I've been streaming a lot on Twitch as well, and a lot of you guys who have been watching my videos have been checking out my Twitch. My watchers and my followers just keep going up so much. It's absolutely incredible. If you're interested in checking out my Twitch, I have a link in the description. But let's get right into the video. So, as you can see from the title, I'm going to be talking about my Infernoid deck that I've been playing, and Infernoids kind of have a special place in my heart. I topped my first in-person regional many years ago with Infernoids, and it's just always been a deck that I come back to and I absolutely love playing. So let's look right at the deck. Look right at the deck. Let's get right into the deck list. So as we can see, I'm playing 60 cards because we're playing 3 copies of That Grass Looks Greener. If you don't know what this card does, basically, if your opponent has 40 cards in their deck and you have 60 cards in your deck and you activate this card, you mill 20 cards. You just match their deck size by milling. Very strong card that a lot of the graveyard decks really get to utilize in Master Duel. You can play zombie decks with this card. I mean, you can mill your Eldritch cards. There's so many different opportunities and just decks that you can play with this card. So let's look at the monsters. I'll start with the Infernoids. I'm playing one Pyramus. He's a Night Beam. Also, if you don't know what the Infernoids do, they all kind of have the same backup effect where you contribute a monster to banish a card from your opponent's grave. And the big Infernoids get to do that during either player's turn. The little ones just can do it during your opponent's turn. So his other effect is the Night Beam effect. Target a set, shuffle it back in the deck, pretty strong. I mainly only play one just because of sending it with Decatron in case I need to send a level 1, but I still think it has a decent place in this deck. And then 3 Decatron, send an Infernoid, you gain its level and then copy its effect. Very strong card. One of our only hits off of Reasoning and Monster Gate. You definitely need to play 3. There's no way around that. 2 Antra. Antra gets to bounce a face-up card. I've considered playing 3 Antra just because it just helps you break boards. It gets rid of F-Zero. It just kind of deals with problematic cards on the board. Really helps. And then I play 2 Harmadic. Harmadic pops a monster. I was going to say Gamma, but we'll come back to Gamma. So 2 Harmadic, pop a monster, can't attack that turn. Level 3, 2 Petrilia, pop a back row, can't attack. Then for the big Infernoids, I play the 2 copies of Sagetti, just so I can always Void Feast for Sagetti and 2 Decatrons. 3 copies of Sidesmithus. He's probably my favorite of the Infernoid boss monsters just because you get to non-target banish a card. That is such a strong effect. Just being able to do it without targeting. He does have to battle, but it always comes up. You can always banish something really cool, so 3 Sidesmithus. And then 3 Atondel, just because it's a level 8 that I can summon from the grave that only takes 2. Not much to say. If he kills a monster, he can attack again. That's really it. 2 copies of Deviati on summon, destroy all spell and traps on the board, and tribute to negate a monster effect. And then Anunku, destroy all monsters other than himself on the board when he's summoned, and then tribute to negate a spell or trap. And then for the non-Infernoids, I play 2 Gamma because you can't hit it off Reasoning, and Gamma is very strong when you activate your Grass if they have Ash. Basically rips 2 cards out of their hand. The Driver, because we got to play the Driver. And then I play a small Light Sworn package. I play 3 copies of Wolf. I play 1 Wolf because you always draw Wolf, and it's just kind of cute. You could probably cut the Wolf for a better, another Infernoid, honestly. It doesn't really do much. I just think it's a fun card. And then 3 Raiden. Probably one of the best other normal summons other than Decatron, just because you can search it with your charge, and then you mill 2 with his effect, milling 5 in total. That's a lot of cards to mill. And then the 1 Snow. You should probably play 2 Snow. I only have 1 right now, but I've really had no problem with seeing Snow, just because I have a decent amount of ways to get to it in the extra deck as well. But yeah, the Fairy Tale Snow, banish 7 cards, summon it, not once per turn. This card's absolutely insane. And then for the spells, I play 1 Foolish Burial. Either send maybe a wolf, you can send your Snow, an Infernoid if you absolutely need to, but yep, graveyard decks, I like my Foolish Burial. 3 Reasoning, your opponent calls a number, mill until you hit a card that can be normal summoned, and then special summon that monster. So this card is very good because your Infernoids do not have the ability to be normal summoned. So you can keep milling through all your Infernoids, and your stops are Decatron, Snow, Driver, sadly, and then Raiden. And with Reasoning, they're either going to call 1 or 4. Probably always looking at 4, so if you hit the Decatron, it does get to summon. The Terraforming, because I'll explain that in about a minute. Monster Gate. This card is super, super good in this version of the deck. I will also explain that in a minute. But it's basically Reasoning without them calling a number. 3 Charge, because milling 5 is really good. So you can mill to your Raiden, and then you can normal summon Raiden and mill 2 more. Since we're playing Snow, we really need those cards in our graveyard, so this card is very important. 1 for 1, 4th copy of Decatron. And, also just like a non-normal summon way to get one of your little guys on the field. Very important. And then 3 Grass, of course. This is a Grass deck. Then I do play 3 Pot of Prosperity just because your power spells are so powerful, and if you do not see them, you kind of just lose the game. So we just need to get either to like a Reasoning, a Monster Gate, sometimes a Charge, a Grass, and your extra deck isn't the most important extra deck in the world, so it's very easy to play this card. Then I play 3 Layer of Darkness. This is a newer addition to Infernoids. Within the last like 4 years, probably they got this card. It makes all monsters on the field dark, and once per turn, if you attribute a monster you control to activate a card effect, you contribute one of your opponent's dark monsters. So, Monster Gate tributes for cost. So if you activate Layer, you can then activate Monster Gate and tribute one of their problematic cards, non-targeting, tributes for cost, so they really can't respond with that card unless they want to respond to Layer. So this is a pretty good combo. Also, just having Layer with your Infernoids just means you can constantly just like keep tributing your opponent's monsters and then banishing a card from their grave. So I think Layer is a staple in this deck. I think it has to be. So that's why I played 3. Void Vanishment, discard to add a Void Spell or Trap. And then it also has another effect that a lot of people don't know, that if an Infernoid battles, you can banish both monsters non-targeting. So it's very good to clear a card that you really just don't have an out to. You do have to send the Void Vanishment after that, but if you're using that, it probably doesn't matter because you're probably not in the best spot. And then 3 Void Imagination. This is our Future Fusion if they control an extra deck monster, more like Shadal Fusion, I guess. Monster comes out right away, very strong card. Then I play 2 Called by the Grave just because of like cards like Ash and Max C. We really don't like those cards playing this deck. We do special summon a lot, and we do rely on special summoning and milling from deck, so we have to play the Called by. That's also why we just play the Gamma. And then I play 1 Void Feast to search when I activate Vanishment. I really don't like 2 or 3 Void Feast. We play so many cards, and there's only like a couple things that you can send with it. So if I'm activating Void Feast, it's because I searched it with Vanishment. I don't want to play more to be like, oh, I could maybe draw a Void Feast and then also an Imagination. I really don't want to think like that. Like, it will happen, but it just really shouldn't happen that often. So that is it for the main deck. A beautiful 60 cards. I love it. Let's look at the extra deck now. 2 Natis, because Natis pops a card, and I have a foil one that's very cool. But yeah, pops a card when sent to grave. Tiara, if you don't know what Tiara does, when it's summoned, you get to apply effects equal to the number of materials. Yeah, fusion materials, that's what it's called. Materials used for the summon with different names. So 3 plus, each player sends 3 cards from their extra deck to the grave. That's why we play Natis. Summon it out, pop some cards, love it. 5, we both mill 3 from our decks. 8, each player returns 3 of their banished cards, and then 10, each player sends their entire hand to the grave. Now this card only sends 6 Infernoids from your deck when they control an extra deck monster, so you really aren't going to go too high. Like, if anything, the 8 is probably as high as you'll go. You have to have 4 Infernoids on your hand or field to be able to do the 10, but when you do, it's probably pretty good. I think I've ever only done it once, and I won that game because of that very powerful effect. But yeah, you're usually just going to do 3 and 6. And then I play a Shooting Riser Dragon to send our Snow. He'll also become a level 3, and like sometimes you could have like your Wolf and then make like a synchro play. This really is only just to send the Snow, just another way to get Snow in case I need it. So yeah, it probably comes up where you can manipulate his level and then make like an Omega, or just send an Infernoid to banish it. But typically, I'm summoning this for Snow. And then 1 Omega, I wish this card was at more than 1. It is so good, especially in this deck. Return your banished Infernoids, and then just banish a card from their hand. It gets off the board so you can summon back your Infernoids. It's an amazing card. And then onto the links, I play an All Mirage, so I can link off my Decatron. Gravity Controller so I can link off my Tiara. Halqifibrax so I can special summon a Decatron and get like another Infernoid name. Hida, my deck is mostly fire monsters. I can special an Ash from their grave and go into our boss monster, which I'll show in a second. Barricade Borg, just another way to like link off your Infernoids to climb up a little more, just because they can only summon if your total level on the board is less than 9. Lineup, because I have the Light Sworns, and this has happened twice already. I have summoned Lina and then special the Diviner from their graveyard, and then I sent Natis and I just popped a card. It's pretty cool when it happens and pretty crazy stuff. Triple Burst because I had room for it. It's another thing to climb up into, and it's decent against Striker. It actually is. And then Tri Brigade too. And then the boss monster, a very not known card, Crusadia Equimax. He gains the attack of what he points to, and then just the monsters that he points to can attack. So your goal is to just summon Equimax, put 2 Infernoids under it. He's at like 7,800. You attack, and then you Infernoid, tribute it, banish a card from their graveyard, and then attack with your Infernoids. So pretty easy game plan. And then I just play Appaloosa, just so when I'm climbing, I can go into something decent. Even if it has 2 material, or it took 2 materials, I can still summon an Infernoid under it, and it feels like a really good board. So that is the beautiful 60 cards that make up this deck. There are other things you could do. There's other engines you could play, but this is very close to the deck that I played during Zodiac format. The only other thing was I was playing Zodiac cards in my deck, so I just kind of replaced those and I put in the Lightsworn cards. But this deck is so much fun. It's like a big gamble. It's a high risk, high reward deck. Like when you get rewarded with your deck, you feel unstoppable. There's not many things that can deal with it. You have like 2 spell and trap negates, maybe a monster negate. It's ridiculous. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. I loved making it. This is a deck that is not very cheap, sadly. As we can see, it plays so many ultra rares just for like staples too, like the Natis, the Tiara, you got an Nonku. Super rares do make up a hefty part of it too, but I do think it's worth it if you want to have fun on ranked and you really don't care about the crafting gems that you need. And this is a pretty competitive deck, I'd say, on the ranked ladder. Like, I've been winning a lot of games with it, a lot more than I thought I would, but who would have thought that Infernoid could really stand a chance still in 2022? But it really does. I think this is such a strong deck, and personal favorite. I've already said that, but I cannot stress that enough. It's just a Josh deck all the way. All right, so that is going to do it for the video. I really do appreciate you guys that are watching. The views, I love them. You guys are so nice. All the comments on the videos, I always respond, so thank you. And have a good one, guys.